You all got this cool animation from WhatsApp on October 7, 2022 when they did their security update. So on the random weekend, I told myself that I could recreate this in After Effects. And I think I tried my best. So here's how I made it. Okay, I first started by breaking down the animation into different parts, so for it to be really easy for me to animate it, because inside the animation there are different transitions. And the different parts are pretty much where the backgrounds. The next part is sliding with like this. Something just like that. So I pretty much breaking down into different parts for it to be really easy to animate. So what I did is just that I just created a different element and then I animated them directly. So first, this is part one. Okay, I first created, to create this locker, I use 4 parts, 1, 3 like this, and 1 for the top. So these are just for the line, those lines, those bottom lines. I just animated trim part. It's just trim part animation, and some to create those different dots. Add a dash. Just open this. You go on. You add to add trim part. You add yes, trim part. So for the dash, you go on strokes. You can add dash here just by pressing the plus sign. So, and then I select round caps for it to be round. So pretty much trim part animations. Just trim part animations. So to have these dots, I just did trim part animation. Just trim part animation for it to resemble a dot, and then when moving, I animated I scale up. I animated trim part for it to come back to a line. So for the top, this is just part animation. I just animated the part of the locker, like you can actually see it. I just animated the part of the locker. So these is just part animation. So to make it feel like it was turning around, and then I added a null object where data linked all the different layers to it for it to go down and come up to simulate these kind of bouncy effects. So then I added different lines. So for the lines to change the color, I just animated the color of the stroke, like you can see it here. I went to a purple, to a really dark purple, really little dark purple, to a really bright purple. So these are just color animation for it to go from this to that. Okay. So then for it to come back, these are all the layers are linked to a null object, like I said. So I just animated the scale of the null object and the position. So when I'm animating the position, I separate the dimension by, like here it is, separate dimension. So we split the X and Y position into separate two different parts for you to have total control. Really, for me, I really like it like that, because when I'm adjusting the speed of the animation, I'm not really using the speed graph. I sometimes use the speed graph, but most of the time I use the value graph. So this is pretty much for the first part. This is it. Okay, let us go to the second part. Now the transition to the second part is just a mask animation. A mask is just coming up like this. I just animated the mask part, so you can actually see it here. So just a mask animation. Then for the part 2, I also recreate lockers, but I first create a first locker, like the first one, not two, because we can actually see that these are pretty much the same animation. Actually, you see, these are pretty much the same animation, so it's not necessary to create the same thing 4 times. So what I did is just create one, then from it, these are just strokes, these and these. So I just created one and then I animated it like so. So inside here, first I started with a stroke animation, so you can see that this is first of all just stroke animation. So stroke animation, so animated a part of this shape. Then I create a shape. I duplicate the same very shape like this, but I added a fill. We can actually see it. I added a fill, and then I apply set matte, and then I create a shape, another shape inside this. There's a shape inside this shape. Okay, for it to recreate this, the transition, the line of this very one. So now for it to pretty much create this full shape, so I animated the scale. Since this shape is matte, it's actually a matte layer. Oh sorry, I mean matte. So I animated the scale of this one. Okay, I animated the scale of this one, trim it like to 0, not really to 0, at a certain level, and then make it get out. So now I have this full shape here. So this is another part animation from this to this. These are actually parts animation. Animated just the parts, bring it up here, and then this one drag a point here using pink to animate the part. So then it's pretty much this. So you can actually just, so it was not necessary for me to create it 4 times, so I just created one and then I duplicated it like 4 times. 1 2 3 4. Okay, so for this one, I just duplicate and then inverted it, so scale it negatively. I just inverted it, so, and then change the color since it's pretty much the same animation, and then place it all over the timeline. Then added icons that are parent to each layer. So that's it. These are different icons that are parent then to each layer. So just a duplicate, you create one, you duplicate, you scale it negatively, so flip it, then you offset it, and then you have it. So now I linked everything to a null object as usual, because they are sometimes moving at the same time. So I linked them to null object, so scale down and then move it up. I always separate dimension, so remember to always separate dimension. Gives you the possibility to really animate it. Really is very cool. So that's it for the part 2. Then for the part 3, I have split it into different parts inside. There are different sub composition into it. So this is pretty much first of all just a locker. Then I also link the locker to a null object for everything to be animated at the same time. Then scale it up. Then animated the scale of the group, since they are linked to a null object. Move it up and then I scale it a little bit down, so for it to transition to this shape. And this shape is actually just scale animation, like you can see here. So then I created a different circles. These different circles that I animated the scale, just scale animation. So I animated the scale as different circle. Then now to create this, I've used a plugin that they call Newton. So you can buy it at EA Script. So I use Newton script. So I selected all the layer, then I applied Newton on it. So skip. Okay, so this what you have here is you have our main object that we want to make it behave like a magnet. So this one, I set the type to kinetic. Okay, I set the type to kinetic, then I remove the bounciness and also increase the density. Density is like, the more the density is, the higher the density is, and the more the object has weight, so it cannot drag down. So I set this one to 20. So go on advanced, remove the gravity scale, put the gravity scale to 0, set it to attraction, increase the magnet distance for it to take all over, put all over those little circles inside, and then increase magnet intensity to around 5,000 So 5,000. So I want 5,000. Okay, then you are good for this one. Then click this. When you click this, it creates a kind of a box where all the shapes cannot move out from the box. So for it to be really inside, it's just like you put all those a lot of ball inside the box. You see. So now for those different shapes, actually put gravity also to 0. Yeah, okay. Here density to 5 for them to really have some weight. So and then remove bounciness. Okay. So also on this shape, add linear damping to fix the object. So and then this is actually how it's going to behave. So add the number of frames to 70. So this, and then you actually play the simulation. So actually this, so this is actually what I did for this part. Then here I went to time remapping option. So you can see it here, time remapping, and I trim it, accelerate the speed, so for it to have a better speed. Then for the next, I just duplicate the composition of the simulation, because when you create simulation, it creates a second shape where it creates the animation into that second composition. Okay, I just duplicate that same very composition, remove the keyframe, I placed at the end, and then I deleted the keyframe. So there's no keyframe here. So I placed at the end to keep that same very position, and then I deleted all the keyframes. So I use this same very position to. I also use Newton to create repulsions for it to spray all those balls all over. So to create this part, you see. Then I animated the scale and everything, and the scale to create this. It's actually the same very setting, but instead of selecting attraction, you select repulsion. It's inside Newton. So actually what I did, and then I also applied time remapping. So in this other layer, we have this shape. First of all, we have this shape, which is just a rounded square. So just a rounded square, scale it up and coming down. And these are just strokes animation. So these are just strokes animation, animated between parts, actually. Then these are scale animation, but I place it to randomize the scale of these different elements. So they should scale up in different times for it to be like this. Okay. Then this is also scale animation. Then I scale it down, I replace it. Then these are all for this part. So I think this is pretty much all. And then here I animated the box. See, I just animated these. There we have our square, rounded square. I animated the scale. Just I unchecked this link option. So I animated one scale. Okay. So now it comes back. There's also a null object here, so scale down and scale up. For these elements, these are shapes that are duplicated, so then I offsetted the keyframe. These are just position animation. So now we are part 4. Part 4. For the last very part, these are position animation. These are position animation. So I created one, like the same very technique I did for the message box. So I created one that I animated completely like so. Okay, animated completely like so. So then I duplicate it 6 times. I duplicated 6 times. So, and then from here I trimmed it. So from here I created this. If you come inside the layer, it is trimmed. There's no more the circle here at this same very point. So trim it. So now here I recreated using lines, using a line. So by scale it up and using trim path, the same very technique I used to recreate the dot of the locker, I use it here to recreate the same very dot, and then I animated it. So it's just animation of trim path, animation and position. So and then all these elements are linked to this node object also, for it to trim it down like this. So it trims down, and then also each line has stroke animation and trim path. So trim it down. So this locker also, this locker is also linked to this node object. So I created a mask. This is a mask. So I created a shape, then I set it to alpha mate. Just here, this is it, alpha mate. So I just play the role of a mask. So now I linked it. So when it's going down, scaling down, it feels like the null object is dragging this part down, and then I also animated the null object for it to go up. So just like this, they reveal the locker. Then I just duplicate the same very locker I used in the part 1. So I just duplicated it, and then I didn't animated it twice. What I actually did is I created this kind of this animation like this. Let me see. You see, it's actually bouncing a little bit. So before locking, so I actually use the same locker. Then I adjusted the animation a little bit. Then it's pretty much the same thing. Then I inverted using the same very locker of the first part. I inverted the animations. So and then I recreate this locker. These are just color animation. So now for this ending like so, I first of all imported the logo. Then inside the logo I created a mask. Like you can see the mask here. There's a mask. It's a logo. You can see there's a mask inside. Then I apply the stroke effect. So if you directly create a circle with the path tool, and then you want to turn it in 2D and then try to animate it like it will not keep the weight of the stroke. So using strokes, it keeps the weight of the stroke like this. So added it, apply, transform it to a 3D object, position the anchor point in the bottom, then animate the rotation like so. And also I animated the part of the logo inside. So, and also there's also some opacity animation. So, and then I also scale animate the brush size. So for the WhatsApp letters, I split the logo into different letters, then animated the position, offsetted the position and opacity. So, and then we have this, also the scale, animated the scale also. So we have this. So this is how I did it. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. So see you next weekend for another tutorial. And also I'll put the link of the project file in the description, so for those who want to download and check out how the file looks like, how I did it. So I'll put the link to the project file in the description, so for you to download it and do whatever you want. Okay.